I couldn't think of a cold open, so let's just... So okay, be warned, I get all kinds of spoily for those of you who have only seen the TV show, you haven't read any of the comics or played the video game, especially when I start making some speculations near the end about what's going to happen in the Season 4 finale. But first, episodes 414 and 415. Now, I loved episode 414. I have not said that about an episode of this TV show since the first episode. This had some of the meatiest, masterful performances. It had hard-to-swallow consequences, and it had heart-wrenching, gut-punching drama. And see, drama, that's one aspect that the show, it doesn't always get it right. And actually the video game had this problem sometimes as well. And what I mean is this. Drama is more than just bitchy people bitching at each other. Okay? Sometimes some of the best drama comes from a character, or, the actor portraying that character's ability to convey the emotion of the scene without saying anything. And so finally Tyrese's character gets some of the respect that he deserved. I mean, up to this point, the TV show has, for the most part, robbed Tyrese of some of the things that made him a complex and interesting character. I mean, in the comic, Tyrese, he's a main character. For a while there in the comic, you could almost call him Rick's right-hand man, because the governor, he cut off Rick's right hand. And he is, well, for a while, until he and Rick have a falling out. Or, actually, Rick's the one who fell down, really, fell off the balcony in the prison and down some stairs. But, yeah, I digress. Tyrese, he has this awesome one-man stand against a horde of walkers in the prison gym. He viciously kills the crap out of his daughter's killer. He has a love triangle with Carol and Michonne. He has, after a certain point, moral conflicts with Rick that lead up to that fight that I mentioned a few moments ago, and I actually mentioned in another one of my videos. He and Rick do kind of make up for a while, up until the point where Tyrese does his impersonation of the antagonist from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. But in the TV show, it seems like they just added his character because they felt they had to. And then they just didn't exactly know what to do with him. So he's kind of just been this side character. He's been in the margins, and he's had some stuff to do here and there. But he's never been the Tyrese that so many of us comic fans know. But Season 4 has been better to him. And finally, in 414, both he and Carol, I mean, oh jeez, we're watching Tyrese confide in Carol, and Carol is dying inside a little bit each time that Tyrese confides in her or thanks her. And you can see that every cell in her body is almost exploding with guilt and remorse. But not over what she's done. She is confident that she did the right thing. But she's in deep physical and emotional turmoil over the effect that it had on Tyrese. And she knows he deserves the truth, but maybe she's just afraid to say it, or maybe she thinks he's just not ready to hear it. Now, the Micah and Lizzie story arc, I'm not going to talk about that much. The internet went apeshit over it, but the fact of the matter is, it was a beautifully crafted, cleverly adapted from story arc from two different kids in the comic, and it was fabulously, yet painfully executed. And that isn't even the climax of the episode. No, that comes later, at the kitchen table. Tyrese and Carol and that absolute standout scene of the entire season run thus far. Those two actors, they just nailed it. They killed it. They knocked it out of the park. It was a fabulous, fabulous scene. So episode 415, another great character episode. I didn't love it the way I loved 414, but it was a great episode in which we get to know some of the new characters better, and we see the long-awaited and hoped reunion of Glenn and Maggie. And yeah, the method of their reunion was a bit improbable, but what the hell. It was heartwarming, I admit it. Did you smile? Did you even tear up a little? A lot of us did. It was a great scene. Now, I'm glad they're not portraying Eugene as completely inept. You may remember previously I was concerned that they might be taking Eugene in a bad direction for that character. He isn't inept. Well, he's crappy at defending himself. There's no way he's going to survive alone when it comes to self-defense. But like I said, he's a really smart guy and he knows a lot of practical things. Hopefully, as the series progresses, we will see more of the great ideas that he comes up with in the comic. And yeah, he talks too much and he's a little bit nerdy, creepy, but he possesses something that is perhaps more valuable than bullets: a conscience. Also, I'm sorry, but I kind of like this sort of adversarial, but not in a hatred sort of way, almost brother and sister relationship that they have crafted for Rosita and Eugene. It's not the same as the comic. They have a different relationship in the comic, but, it's good that some things are different, and I like what they're doing with it. Abraham. Still too lighthearted with Abraham. Now, we have seen them touch just a bit, they mentioned it a couple of times, but they haven't gone into depth about possible inner demons with Abraham, some skeletons in the closet with those 8 people that died before those 3 met up with our group. Hopefully, they will explore some of Abraham's darker side in season 5. And then there's Daryl and the Claimers, as so many people on the internet seem to be calling them. It's a lot shorter than the title I had, which was, I think, Biker Mountain Man Group. So what a fascinating guy this Joe is. Brutal, unrefined, and with the single-mindedness that men, and I think it's important that he did say men and not people. Men who, as long as they follow just a few rules and cooperate just a little, will, in essence, be the ones to inherit this new world. Now, it's a bitter pill to swallow for those of us so comfortable in our first world society that this simple, uncompromising, and sometimes brutal philosophy does work in this new world. And Daryl, who's now lost everything, is coming back into a fold that in many ways is like his pre-zombie apocalypse life. And unfortunately, he's starting to find a comfort zone again with this new group. And once they reach Terminus, he is going to find himself having to make a choice again between new loyalties and old loyalties. Which brings us to 416, the season finale. Now, Kirkman and the showrunners have already warned us. Heck, Andrew Lincoln, he said, he said, those of us in the cast who are still alive have been texting each other about season 5. People are gonna die in the season finale. And we also know it's going to be a cliffhanger. And we also know terrible things are going to happen. And that Rick, some news I was just reading earlier today, Rick is going to do something horrible and terrible that pushes the limits thus far of, they say, anything that anyone has done in the show. But how about Terminus, huh? Now, I usually don't verbally employ internet vernacular, but OMFG. I think we're about to see the TV show draw material from the video game. And I'm glad to see I'm not the only one who thinks this. I've read some people talk about it on the internet. Heck, even I've got a coworker, she's only ever seen the TV show. She's never read the comics and never played the video game. I showed her this pic, and she said, oh wow, that looks like Mary from the end of last Sunday's episode. Is TV show Mary going to be a version of video game Brenda St. John? Let's just see if she serves them any meat. I'll fix you a plate, indeed. Did you see that big ass grill? Oh my god, the moment I saw that, I wanted to make carne asada and just like eat it by the handfuls. But, I see I'm getting off on a tangent again. So, guess what? In the video game, there's a guy in that group who goes missing for a while. Next time we see him, he's missing his legs. Where are his legs? They're in dinner. So, in the TV show, who's missing? Beth. So yeah, Mary, you'll fix him up a plate. A plate of Beth's legs. That's right, I'm calling it. I might be wrong, I might be wrong. Beth is gonna die. Some of the group are gonna come close to eating some of her. So we already know that Rick is gonna reach Terminus in the season finale. Now I bet Tyrese and Carol are also gonna reach Terminus, and there's gonna be quite the emotional scene with Rick and Carl reuniting with baby Judith. In fact, I'm betting there's gonna be a good part of the episode dedicated to the group reuniting with each other and getting to know the new people of Terminus. And then maybe about as the last half of the episode starts to kick in, serious shit is gonna go down when our group finds out that the people at Terminus are cannibals. Maybe you remember a couple of videos back, I mentioned the group in the comics called the Hunters. And I also said that Rick and his group taught the Hunters a lesson in the meaning of revenge and loss. Andrew Lincoln has been quoted as saying that Rick is going to go to a very dark personal place and he's going to do something terrible. We'll have to see if a version of the scene in the comic book where Rick and his group deal with the Hunters, if they do that in the TV show. And the cliffhanger, we already know it's going to end in a cliffhanger. Well, I don't think the claimers are going to come in until near the end of the episode. There's going to be, I think, a gunfight. Here's another prediction, which is kind of out there, but here we go. Gunfight. Carol's going to get shot. Carol is dead. Carol is going to be carrying baby Judith. Baby Judith dies. Much like in the comic where Lori and Judith die at the same time back at the prison. Now, I've got a buddy who says that he thinks the showrunners would feel a lot of pressure from standards and practices not to kill a baby. This does make a certain amount of sense, except House, they killed a baby or two in that show every season, at least for the 3 seasons or so that I watched it. And so you may be asking, okay, what's the point of not having her dead in the prison? What's the point of going through all the efforts of filming the scenes with the baby and keeping that character alive and all this stuff, and having her reunited with Rick and Carl? What's the point of all that just to kill her? 'Cause it'll hurt more. It'll hurt Rick, it'll hurt Carl, and it'll hurt us, the viewers. So that's all I got this time, folks. Thank you very much for watching.